Aloha and Tashi Delay from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center. Here on the island of Kauai in Hawaii, we present this class every Thursday night, 6 to 8 o'clock, and it's recorded and put on our website, kauaidharma.org. I'm Lama Tashi, and the tradition of Tibetan Buddhism that we follow is in primarily two lineages. The Karma Kagyu, which is Karmapa, is the head of, and the Shangpa Kagyu, which was founded by Neguma Sukhasiddhi and Kungpo Naljor, brought the teachings to Tibet. And all of that lineage was brought to Hawaii through my root Lama Kala Rinpoche. So both the Karmapa lineage and Kala Rinpoche's lineage are responsible for most of what we have as Dharma centers, stupas, and what we call teaching organizations throughout Hawaii. When we present these classes, we are actually presenting a series of methods for turning the mind inward to its natural state. This is the word Dharma. But Dharma also pertains to the outer world of what appears and all of the things that you can think of. So in the practice of the Dharma, we have two extraordinary methods. One is called the Sutra, which is based on all the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha that were presented through all of the teachers called Mahasiddhis in India, and then over time taken into Tibet, starting at about the 8th century to the 15th century. And in Tibet, they concentrated in both Sutra and Tantra practices by establishing monasteries, nunneries, and huge centers of learning. So when we do these practices, we have two levels of development of the practice. The Sutra tradition is what we call the Hinayana, is the basis. And when we move into the actual Bodhisattva training of the 6 perfections, that becomes the Mahayana. Then the Mahayana evolves in the Sutra tradition to the Tantrayana. So we have the Yana means vehicle. So we have the Hinayana, that's the self-realizer. The basis of that was, in the Buddha's time, was Hinduism, and he used that established system to move to the Mahayana tradition, and then the Tantrayana. When we do these practices, we primarily focus on the 6 Bodhisattva disciplines and the peaceful deity practices. And also these based on what we call the Nungdro, or the preliminary practices. Now all of that is to purify one's present situation in order to accept their own true nature as their Buddha nature. And everyone is potentially a Buddha. And in the human condition, it's the only situation where you can actually do that. It can't be accomplished in the animal world or spirit world. Then, as you progress through these practices of Bodhisattva training using the Sutra, with the Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajra, then you connect more and more to the mind and body, speech, and mind of the lineage and the lineage teachers, and specifically your root Lama. Then what takes place is the body, speech, and mind of all of that becomes the 3 higher yanas is the best way. And then the word changes from yana to kaya. Kaya means highest or higher. So the Vajrayana moves to the level of the all-pervasive nature of consciousness itself, and that is the highest jhana. Then as the deities are presented, both peaceful and protector practices, that becomes the Nirmanakaya. So the Dharmakaya is your all-pervasive nature. And when you enter into that, you're entering into a situation of what we call infinite potential, infinite proportions. Then that produces the deities as the Sambhogakaya nature of mind in action. And that's called the bliss energy of the rainbow bodies of the peaceful and wrathful protectors. There are 42 peaceful and 58 what we call wrathful Dakini protector practices. Then the teacher is the Nirmanakaya, but the teacher is actually evolving from the other two kayas or with the other two kayas. And in this process of evolution, which started with the Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, then became the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and the all-pervasive nature of mind, we say the Tantric Kaya, then there's no ceiling. There's no goal. There's no taking rebirth in any emotional state, human, animal, or spirit. Now I'm explaining this because tonight we're going to do the highest bodhisattva practices of the protector deities and Dakini. And these are actually the energy of the lamas and all the lineages. And what they are doing is bringing the wisdom nature of your mind 5 ways into your situation. And that is called highest tantric yoga practice. But when we say into your situation, it means now you have moved with the preliminary practices and bodhisattva training through the deity yogas into the protector practices, which is the 8th level of bodhisattva training. And there are many deities, basically in our lineage, 58. Each lineage has their own, what we call favorite, Dakini and male protector practices. But also your vision changes of what we call the paradise of the bodhisattva. They say Dewa Chen, land of bliss. But when you move into the protector practice, that changes into what they call the charnel grounds of the protectors and the playgrounds of the Dakini. And that's overlaid into our worldly situation. And there's an ultimate purpose to this change of view relating to the phenomenal world, is because when you move from this life out of the human body into the next life, you're entering into the energy field of the spirit world. So at that moment or at that time, all 4 spirit worlds become apparent. Just like now you can see the animal world and the human world. So that's 4 more categories of sentient beings. And the protector practices are to show you that it's 2 things. One is all an illusory program, and it can be liberating for you and all the beings you see by using these specific practices. And when you're in the human condition, it's all about survival and being okay. And so that's the real purpose of why these were presented from India to Tibet, because in Tibet, these practices were used for survival and to change the, we call the reality based on ignorance and other emotional afflictions to one of clarity, insight, power, and in a word, kindness, loving kindness. And the symbol for that, the easiest symbol to understand is one's mother. And Lama means honorable mother. And all of the deities are just symbols of the lamas for training. They come in both male and female energy programs. And so when we start with these practices tonight, which I'm going to introduce the key practice of the female and the male energy protectors and dakinis with their seed syllables and how you use them in practice. Not how you just know about them. That knowledge is given to you so you know how to use them, how to have compassion, power, insight, and loving kindness. Be the deity as the mind of your teacher in action. It's called Buddha activity. And I can tell you that everything that we've accomplished here in Hawaii is a result of all of that. And it's not stopping. In other words, the Dharma is still prevalent here in Hawaii, is still increasing and becoming more and more prolific, like through this program that you're seeing tonight, and with more and more training, which we now do at our stupa. Stupa has become our center of learning. This is what the stupa looks like. Now we're going to start with refuge. And the motivation is that we are doing all of this for the benefit of all sentient beings, all the animals, all the humans, and all the spirits. And it's whether you're in a human body or not that all this activity takes place. But the altruistic motivation takes you into what we call the infinite situation of infinite sentient beings filling an infinite universe. And the word infinite is easy to understand because uncountable, no boundary, like space. So we start with the altruistic motivation. If you have this Dharma sheet, it's at the top of the page. I first chanted in Sanskrit, and it's the reason the Lama starts with this, because in all Dharma presentations, the Lama always gives prayers to start the teaching or the practice session using this motivation. Dag dong dro wa nam ke tha dong yam pe sem chem tam che tu di ne jung te ji si jang shu ning po la chi ki bardu. In English, that is, in order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our mothers, we now all together do these practices, take refuge, and when possible, offer prostrations of the preliminary practice. Then the second part of this is the support of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, which is what all Buddhists use. And then in these methods of what we call bodhicitta, of tantric practice, and sutra practice. Then we take refuge in the Lama and all the Lama's symbols, which are all the 100 deities, 42 peaceful and 58 Dakini and protector deities. And that one we chant in Sanskrit. Palden Lama Dampa Nam La Chapsu Chio Yedam Chokor Gilatso Nam La Chapsu Chio Sanjay Churpa Nam La Chapsu Chio Dampe Chur Nam La Chapsu Chio Palpe Gandum Nam La Chapsu Chio Pao Kandro Chokyum Sume Sho Yesheki Shendong Dempa Nam La Chapsu Chio. In English, it's we go for refuge to all the Lama Gurus. We go for refuge to all the Yidams, the peaceful and protector and Dakini that we gather together in our mandala practice. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered their mind and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all this supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha, and we go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis, who are the protectors and defenders of the Dharma, all of these possessing the mind of transcending awareness. And that last one, the Dakas and Dakini and Dharma protectors, is what this class is about tonight. Then we chant the Bodhicitta prayer, the Bodhisattva training. Sanjay Chodam Choki Chognam La Jangju Bardu Dagni Chapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Jipe Sonam Ki Jola Benjer Sanjay Drupar Sho. In English, to the Buddha Dharma and this Supreme Assembly we go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained from practicing the 6 Bodhisattva disciplines, called the 6 perfections, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, all the animals, all the spirits, and all the humans in the entire universe. When we move into the Bodhisattva training from the Hinayana path called the Pratyeka Buddha or self-realizer, which is originally in the Buddha's country of India, was Hinduism. But there was also in neighboring China, Taoism. Now these practices are all about attaining a higher rebirth in the conditioned existence, or relinquishing this relative world of the human drama world and moving into the higher realms of gods and goddesses in the spirit world. That's all Hinayana. And no matter how you approach that with any religious tradition or any tradition founded on just healing, symptomatic application of healing methods, that's all Hinayana. Now, Hinayana simply means you're not moving beyond 2 situations. One is the egocentric mind with its dualistic fixation. We call that the holding of the subject, the I, as highest, most important. And then everything, all objects to support that. We call it subject-object dichotomy or subject-object fixation. And because you have established the subject, the I, the me, the mind, the soul, whatever, as separate from the objects, which is the phenomenal world and the beings around you, you've established a state of ignorance, or better said, delusion, because that's not the situation at all. And secondly, when we use the Mahayana path, the intent changes from the I, me, mind to we. And that brings in what we call the concern for the well-being of others and the environment, or compassion. But this compassion is not limited compassion, as it is in the Hinayana. It's all-inclusive, no one left out. So those two are both the foundation of Bodhisattva training. And that's why we have the altruistic motivation and the 6 supports, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Lama, deities, dakinis, and protectors, and apply that to every situation, every sentient being, without judgment. So when we sum up these 2 natures of mind, which are inherent in us and on all beings, you have the relative nature. And the word relative means relative truth. That means, yes, it is appearing, but it's not appearing in the way that you can recognize its usefulness. And then we have the ultimate nature of mind, the Buddha nature, or what we call the natural mind. This is the absolute truth of our situation and how we are relating to the world around us. And of course, absolute truth is based on infinite application, relative truth, limited application. So here we are in the relative limited application of our situation. So now we're going to use the 6 Bodhisattva trainings together with the peaceful deities, which is the 7th level of training, then evolve in that Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana into the 8th level of the dakinis and Dharma protectors, male and female. And all of those 58 in our lineage, those 58 dakinis, Dharma protectors, are all based on the first 6 levels, how we did with, for instance, the preliminary practices and Chenrezig and Tara and other of the 42 peaceful deities. Then once we have that foundation, then the Dharma protectors and dakinis will be effective. And most importantly, they will be very effective for the practitioner in the next life. So all of the fear, anxiety of the relative Hinayanas and some of the Mahayana will disappear with the Tantragana practice of the male or female Bodhisattva as a Dakini or Dharma protector. And I'm going to show you both. We're going to show you both tonight. What is Buddha activity? What are these symbols actually doing? Based on these 5 principles of enlightenment, these 5 dhyana Buddhas, energy fields, which are infinite and inherent in our consciousness, they are there because the universe operates this way. It's the natural state of the energy of the universe. But when you move into the human condition, the universe is creating you out of the 5 elements. That's the Dakini energy. And then they introduce you to the 5 natural states of mind or consciousness interacting in harmony with the universe. The first one is there's no such thing as separation. There's no subject-object dichotomy. It doesn't exist. There's no ego, I, soul, or any of that. And everything that you're sensing and thinking about is a total illusion and can be worked with. It is not to be escaped from. The second one is bodhisattva training is how to do that. The third one is the natural state of your mind is completely clear, open, and full of infinite knowledge. Okay, they use the word omniscient. Then there's no such thing as superior, supreme, or supernatural, but at the same time, there's no such thing as less than or inferior. So those two ideas are erased in the state of wisdom of unity, where the emotions become the program. And I'll explain that after I do the fifth one, which is your natural mind is the use of discerning awareness to overcome all the obstacles and distractions of the relative situation that we as humans have set up, evolved with, on this planet, for sure. The teachers say there's other planets that not this spoiled, okay, not this constant distraction. So that's your discerning awareness. When you have these five, this one is to help dispel anger or aversion of any sort, a judgment call on that anything is bad, anything or anyone. The second one is bodhisattva training using the sutra and tantric tradition is not only to bring you into states of good health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in this life, but also carry on into the next life, and the next life, and the next life. The clarity of the mind is this ultimate truth nature, where one is completely open and concerned about the well-being of everybody. That's the compassion nature, which is emphasized with this state of unity. And when you know that everything is equal, whether it be an animal, human, or spirit, on that level of unity, the emotional program is stabilized, becomes totally useful. And then with the discerning awareness program, then you take all the knowledge with the guidance of the Lama and put it into action. That's what we've done here in Hawaii and other places, because we're not limited to these islands. We have centers in Canada and New Zealand and Brazil and Europe, everywhere. So these five are on the heads of all of the peaceful deities. They show 5 jeweled crowns. And on all the protectors and dakinis, they show 5 jewel skull crowns. That's the symbol of those 5 states of ultimate awareness, or Dhyana Buddha family. And when you can take all 6 of them and put them together, you can even overcome what's binding this planet today, greed. Okay, never satisfied. Overactivity and constant frustration. That's the theme of the world today. And that situation is going to take all 5 with the peaceful and protector deities pacifying it. And at the same time, while that's happening, they are liberating countless beings in the animal world, the spirit world, and the human condition. And this has been going on for thousands of years, this liberating process. uncountable beings have become enlightened, which simply means to be liberated from their own egocentric afflictions and emotionally conflicting energies and all the pain and suffering that goes with that. So let's practice. When practicing Bodhisattva training, the foundations of generosity, both on the relative and ultimate application, together with morality, ethics, and good manners, together with patience, that's the third, together with diligence or perseverance in practice, mind training, together with the ability to do single-pointed concentration using the imagination as a method to quickly accomplish for the individual and the surrounding world of sentient beings what needs to be accomplished, what's appropriate. Those five together help you to move into the infinite situation of your mind, which is your natural mind of no judgment. Without judgment attached to your thoughts, you're clear. With this clarity, you can perform easily in your practices what needs to be accomplished, outside and inside. And so outside is the phenomenal world and the being. Inside, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, body, speech, mind. So sit with the back straight. Hands on the knees or in the lap. Comfortable. Head slightly tilted forward. Eyes slightly open, mouth closed. And bring your focus to your breath. With these five positions physically, and the mind focusing on the breath, you start to unwind, relax, simply by the energy of the mental process of watching your life support system, your breath, spontaneously doing what it does. Inhale, diaphragm expanding. Exhale, diaphragm compressing. In the Hinayana tradition of Hinduism, this practice was the theme of all yoga and meditation, simply because it helps one to become present, because that's what you're doing moment to moment to stay alive in the human body. Breathe. But when you move into the Mahayana, which is based on the Tantra tradition of all the Buddhist teachings and the lineage and all the teachers, then you visualize the air coming into your lungs as white light. The energy, life support energy, filling your lungs. The absorption or middle breath is simply that energy being spontaneously processed through every cell and atom in your body. So you think that as red light, that energy. completely pervading your human form, even your hair. Then you bring these two energy programs, these two codes together, and exhale out your nose blue light to space as a support to all the beings in the universe who are your life support. They're all interconnected to you. Again, breathe. Inhale white light, visualize it filling your lung. The energy process your body, visualized as red light through every cell. These two combined are the blue light bodhisattva breath. That this is for the benefit of all the sentient beings filling space. So blue light to space, like the sky. After a short time of this prana yoga practice, which should be done as much as possible wherever you go, this three lights prana yoga practice starts to enhance the total healing of your physical form, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because they're the nature of everything that exists. Those three, the white, the red, and the blue. Everything that you sense and everything that you think about. Then when you're ready to do a practice, for instance, we'll do the 5 elements healing practice, by combining these 3 energy codes together into a tiny single particle to create what is called a bindu, or tigli in Tibetan. It's an energy chakra center right in the middle of your chest, in the central channel of your life force. And that central channel is running from towards the back of your head, down through your head, throat, heart, chest, navel, sex chakra, to feed all of this enhancing light energy to every aspect of your being, your physical being. And to affect the quality of your speech, which is connected to the breath, and enhance the power of your physical activity being appropriate, kind, considerate, and so forth, for all beings and the environment around us. So focus on that tiny particle of light in your heart center, and all light interconnects to the infinite light of what we call our phenomenal world, the universe. And that has infinite proportions. So you really can't meditate on it. So you just relax. You can hold the tigli as a reference or not. It's a symbol of the light of the entire fabric of space. And you can rest in that dimension because there's peace. It's peaceful. It's based on spatial awareness or voidness, sunyata. And this element or energy of space is the nature of everything in the world and in your mind. Then, with that as the foundation, space or voidness, the natural state, focusing on that tiny point in your heart chakra, which you just created, expand that or visualize it to grow into a small sphere of clear light. Then have that sphere of clear light change into the elemental energy of one of the 5 symbols we use for the healing practice called the 5 elements healing. And tonight we're going to use radiation or fire, similar to the light of the daytime and nighttime sky. Everything that appears in your mind and in the world around you that you can sense or think about is this symbol of a red pyramid. And it is labeled as fire, and you visualize it in the very center of your heart chakra. For the human condition, its most favorable quality is warmth. No matter how you experience it or project it. And I'm using this symbol tonight more than its warmth, more than its light or fire radiation factor, is that first of all, it's all pervasive in your thoughts, in your body, and in the world around you. But most importantly, it is the Dakini energy of everything you see and everything you think about. All your thoughts are projected from this element. Each of the 5 elements are interconnected to this, and they each have their own application. So when you see this small pyramid centered in your heart, it's for healing. Because the psychic energy of your mind is the most powerful. Then visualize it to move out in front of your heart chakra and up before your eyes, about arm's length in front. Then start the meditation by seeing that enlarged to a size of the room you're in, or a large tent, so that your physical form is visualized inside this red pyramid of light, of fire, of radiation, of warmth. And in that way, you receive the full healing potential of it as a life support and healing energy. So you're not only thinking that it is healing, you're actualizing the healing effect. Keeping imagination and focus together, expand this pyramid now to include the whole island of Kauai, or town or city, or a large area of where you're doing this healing practice. Visualize it to grow in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her atmosphere. Then apply it to the solar system by visualizing it to completely enclose all the planets, the sun, everything inside. And project it to completely enclose our spiral disc-shaped galaxy. Then move beyond the bounds of your conceptual mind by merging it with boundless space as an infinite potential for healing of all the beings in space, infinite in number. No meditation, simply be present and contemplate space. This is the clear, open power of your natural mind for healing. Then move from this universally applied aspect of consciousness by again generating the pyramid enclosing the spiral galaxy. Then use the red pyramid to shrink it to completely enclose our solar system. Smaller and smaller to just enclose Mother Earth. Then much smaller to completely enclose the city, town, or island, or area where you are doing the practice. Your neighborhood. Then confine all of that energy with the pyramid healing energy into your physical form. Visualize sitting inside the fire symbol. Finish the practice by bringing the symbol again in its smallest form before your eyes, no bigger than your thumbnail. The chest level into your heart chakra. Condense it to a tiny particle and again rest and in contemplation of space as a universal application. Simply be present, no meditation, relax. Bring your awareness to in front of your eyes and spread it into the area of your practice and dedicate the virtue of the practice to fulfill your altruistic motivation to the benefit of all beings. And whatever you do that is healing, appropriate, prosperous, beneficial, kind, considerate, give it all away to the benefit of every sentient being as if they were your mother, like that. Now, this Hinayana approach to healing has been around for thousands of years, and I was first introduced to it through the Taoist tradition with my teacher Lily Su in Honolulu. And that tradition was passed from Kuan Yin thousands of years ago in China to all of that country and neighboring countries. And it is one of the best practices of the Hinayana path of spiritual practice. And my teacher, Kala Rinpoche, included it in all the centers. He taught it in all the centers here in Hawaii, and it was part of our 40-month retreat. Now, when you do the Deity, to give you an example of how important the elemental practice is, your body is a phenomenal universe. It has infinite atoms, uncountable atoms. Okay? Each of these atoms has, in proportion, incredible space between them. So those two factors are cyclically applied as healing energy for any, it can be used in any modality and applied to almost any situation where healing is required, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. But to up the energy in the Bodhisattva tradition, we use Tara and Chenrezig. And when we use the Chenrezig and the Tara practice, we are taking the foundation of Tibetan Buddhist Tantric applications into a higher level. It's called the path of skillful meaning. Up to that point, it's all about clearing, purifying, processing, growing, developing. But once you move into the situation of the Deity, either Tara or Chenrezig, because female and male have to be together in union. That's the way the universe works. That's the way you exist, came into existence. all of that light energy becomes the red Tara or the red Chenrezig, depending on which application you're using, of life itself, existing as everything totally integrated and appropriate. When we move through the red Tara practice, which we're going to do 21 of the Tara, then we move into what we call the Dakini energy of the protectors. Now, the Dakini has a special function. Because it is the nature of the elements which create the universe, your body, and everything you're thinking of, everything you're seeing with your eyes in the human condition, that is this symbol of the Tara in action. And what is her activity? To accomplish in the human condition on a planet what is necessary, what is appropriate for the Dharma to appear and function. But more than that, to accomplish whatever needs to be brought into existence from that point on. Wow. So the Dakini is the workhorse of everything we're doing. And when you become the Dakini, you're lending all your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy into that program. And it has another function, and that's to liberate spirits that are karmically connected to you. We call them debtors. And these spirits come with you because of your tendencies of previous lives. You cause a lot of unhealthy situation. But more importantly, you also attract negative influence from the world around you and the beings in it. As bodhisattvas, that's good. Because now that's the whole purpose for Dharma practice, because that exists. I'm not making this up. Watch YouTube. Watch ABC News, whatever, however, read the newspaper. However you get your information in the world around you, it's very interesting in the theme of pain and suffering. No one's left out. In the human condition, it's applied to 8 billion humans and all the animals in the ocean and on the land. And it's riling the spirit world. Now, a lot of people say, oh, spirits, they don't exist. Well, in ultimate reality, that's true. But in actuality, it's not. And when Kala Rinpoche introduced this Dakini, he says, when you're having spiritual problems, apply the Tara as a protector. And he said, you have to accomplish 100,000 of the Tara mantras and being the peaceful Tara. In any of her applications, there's 42. 21 Taras is the basis, but connected to the male aspect of the methods, that makes 42. But when you move into this next level, the 8th level, the Tara now stands up and she's showing, drinking from a skull cup of the wisdom nature that all of the protector and Dakinis use. And she is gesturing, she's dancing, and she doesn't need to project, because already set her energy up as the peaceful Tara. So she immediately, energy is so powerful, it's like the sun, it pervades everywhere. All the six realms, all the spirit world, all the animal world, all the human world. If we have all of this pain and suffering going on, that's the purpose of this Dakini. To take it on, to liberate those beings that are causing the pain and suffering. Well, that's us. And these are all based on functions of the mind. For instance, she wears a string of 51 freshly cut heads. Well, that's to symbolize the 51 negative kinds of thinking that you have innate in your mind because of egocentric involvement. That you exist this way, separate. And so all of this symbolism, she's shown standing on a male and female human forms as support, on a sun and moon disk in a dome of flames that comes up around her from the sun disk. Remember, it's all about warmth, and the total warmth of our little solar system is the mother sun. So that's her influence, like that. Her basic energy of the mind evolves from the wisdom of discerning awareness that this works. And you project it, you apply it, you think it. And you become this Dakini with the empowerment of a Lama that's doing this already, man or woman. And there are thousands and thousands of Lamas on the planet today. And they all base all of their teachings of what they are doing on the physical, mental, and emotional application of them doing this practice globally, not just one over here and one over there, every day, night and day. This is going on. It originated with the deity Padmasambhava and his consort Yeshe Tsogyal in Tibet. And they say about the 7th, 8th century, because both of them were around a long time. And then it pervaded all of Tibet, Mongolia, China, Eastern Russia, Western China, and all the Himalayan countries. So we use Padmasambhava because he introduced these practices, 42 peaceful and 82 protector practices, through the Tara tradition, through Yeshe Tsogyal, the first Lama, woman, by giving this 7-line prayer. So I'm going to read this and I'm going to give the empowerment for this practice, and then we're going to do the practice. The 7-line prayer of Padmasambhava and Yeshe Tsogyal goes like this. From the seized double home, which is universal healing in the Tibetan tradition, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, to everyone, to the universe. Home. He who was born in the northwest land of Odhyana, on a pollen bed of a lotus stem, which means he took human birth from a human mother, wondrously you attained the supreme accomplishment. You were renowned as the lotus born. That means coming as a bodhisattva Buddha into the human condition. Surrounded by a retinue of uncountable Dakinis. This is a Dakini. Surrounded by these Dakinis, we follow to your teachings. We emulate you, and we, in the process, will perfect ourselves. Come then, I pray, bestow all blessings and achievement Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Hum, born in the northwest corner of Kashmir, Odiyana, on the pollen bed of a lotus stem, wondrously attained all supreme accomplishment. Your renown as the lotus born, surrounded by a retinue of many dakinis. Emulating you, I will perfect myself in with your methods. Come then, I pray, bestow your blessing, Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. Starts with Hum, ends with Hum. The first recitation of this prayer was for all sentient beings in the universe. The second recitation is for myself. Those two have to come together. All the sentient beings in the universe are integrated into you. And when we use this in the Tibetan tradition, you must receive the empowerment of the Lama doing the peaceful and protector deity practices, along with all the foundation practices and the 6 yoga practices. So we've been giving these teachings based on all of that, universally applied through our Dharma centers here in Hawaii and all the people that have come and involved with that, and also online with the web. And many, many empowerments and teachings and so forth have been given. But this one I want to read from Padmasambhava's book, Shower of Blessing. This is his practice text, which we did at the stupa. We have a stupa, looks like this, 20 feet high. This is 5 elements in the 5 Dhyana Buddha symbol. So I'm going to read this empowerment for the practice of any Dakini practice, but specifically for the red tar one, which we're going to give you the methods tonight, and for any of the male practices. And those are based on Vajrapani, which brings Chenrezig, Manjusri, and Vajrapani as the methods of compassion, power, and insight applied in our lineage. So this is the empowerment. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Dwara Ayu Purni Jana Siddhi Hum. That means with the blessing of Padmasambhava and all lamas, everything appears in the state of spatial awareness called voidness. Ram Yam Kam. Fire, air, space. Those are the 3 elements of your body, speech, and mind that are necessary to perform these practices. Precious Lama, who shows kindness in 3 ways, with your body, speech, and mind, please confer upon us the 4 maturing empowerments of these 3, and including the empowerment of union. In the moment of requesting this way, the syllable Om appears amidst white light, which is radiating from the Om at my Lama's forehead and is absorbed into my forehead. With this, my obscurations of body are purified, and I can generate the deity for the benefit of others. This is called the base empowerment. And with this empowerment, you are able to do the creation phase of any deity yoga, but specifically Pema Vajrayogini. Next, from the letter A in my Lama's forehead, a mist red light radiates into from the Lama's throat, radiates into my throat and is absorbed. I receive the sacred empowerment of the seed syllable and mantra practice of the deity. As this takes place, my obscurations of speech are purified, and I'm empowered to practice the consecration of myself as the deity with the speech of mantra. This is the establishment of the Sambhoga Kaya, or the vehicle of bliss energy, and its realization will be born. The syllable Hung amidst blue light radiates from the Hung in my Lama's heart and absorbed into my heart. With this, I receive the wisdom empowerment of my own natural mind. My obscurations of mind are then purified, and I'm empowered to practice the path of the messenger in the male and female forms. Thus, the seed of the Dharmakaya is sown, and its realization will be born. Then the fourth empowerment is my Lama melts into light and merges into me. With this fourth empowerment of union is received, all obscurations of meditative equipoise and practice are purified of any obstacles, and am empowered for the inconceivable practice of union of my body, speech, and mind, being the body, speech, and mind of the Lama and deity inseparable. Thus, the four kayas are realized, and the inseparability of the expanse of the totality of space and awareness is now directly experienced in union. In this space dawns the naked experience of bliss and emptiness, inseparable Mahamudra. I read that because you just received the empowerment to do the practice of performing as the standing male or female deity. And first of all, this empowerment is applied to the female aspect of Pema, resulting from the foundation practices and Red Tara practice, which is all pervasive. This is Dharmakaya, but the deity being used is called the Sambhogakaya, the bliss energy of your all-pervasive nature, inseparable from the Lama. And these two together become what they call the messenger, which goes out to liberate limitless sentient beings that you have karma with or in the world around you, and also establish what is appropriate for their enlightenment and good health. Wow. But I can even say any part of this. It's just, I'm asking who's talking? You know? Who is it? In any case, let's do the practice. Back straight, eyes in front, hands comfortable. Mouth closed, head tilted. Lama in front, 3 lights coming into you. The Lama melts into you. In your forehead appears the white light with the empowerment of being the deity. In your throat, the red light of sounding the mantra, the power of the mantra, speech. That's a red awe. Then a blue hung appears in your heart. That's the wisdom of your own natural mind, being expressed through your body and speech. Then you bring the white Om down into the red awe, into the blue Om, and you rest in a state of union, producing the appropriate deity. In this case, we start with the red tar in the sitting position, peaceful. Right hand open in generosity, left hand with the lotus stem blooming by your left ear, symbolizing altruistically applied compassion. The right hand is giving the universal application of form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Ultimate generosity. You are dressed in silks and jewels, young, beautiful, 5-jewel skull, right leg extended, left leg drawn in, and you're sitting on a lotus sun and moon seat as a bodhisattva Tara in space. Your mother appears in front of you as Tara, red Tara. Then all of the people you have karma with, relatives, friends, lovers, the whole human race, all the animal world is Tara, all of the spirit world is Tara. When you could see all that in your mind's eye, filling your mind, causes the heart mantra to appear. And we'll chant that, being red Tara, and apply it to all the humans, all the animals, and all the spirits in the entire universe. You create this mandala out of loving kindness and altruistic compassion. Om Tara Tu Tare, Ture Ram Hri Soha. 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 So your red tar, 3 eyes, young, beautiful, healthy, dressed in silks and jewels, projected to every living being in the universe as tar, equal to you, same as you. And whatever you perform as this bodhisattva symbol is her bodhisattva activity. And every being in your mandala, infinite in number, are doing exactly the same thing you are from this point on. Om Tara Tu Tare, Ture Ram Hri Soha. 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 When you move into this projection, all the radiance of the Sambhogakaya deity comes from these gold discs stacked in the stupa. But they also are everything you think and everything you see with your eyes. So as you imagine yourself as the Tara in front, and all sentient beings as Tara, leave that image in place and stand up and be the protector, Dakini, of Pema Khandro, the fire Dakini, also called Palden Lamo, Many different names. This Dakini have. But same mantra. The seed syllable is free, appearing from the discerning awareness of you projecting this image for yourself to benefit every being in the universe, all the spirit worlds and all the worlds, planets where animals and humans take birth. All of them. No need to project that. You already did that with the red peaceful tile. Dome of fire, standing on a male and female form, drinking from the skull cup, and the right hand holding a hook knife, cutting off attachment to the idea of a self or soul existing. You're a universal being. This is a universal application. So as you visualize just this protective dome, I mean, you on a sun and moon with support as either male or human physical body, you're drinking the bliss energy of your own natural mind, and with the skull cup, with the knife cutting off ego. Those two functions as you say the mantra. No need to project. This is all inclusive. It is the Dharmakaya. It is the natural energy of your mind that can project everywhere and think of anything. Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe. 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 Khandro means Dakini. Pema means lotus. Om Lotus Dakini Ram Hri. Ram is her seed syllable. Hri is the all-pervasive, discerning awareness of Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light, the ultimate nature of your mind. Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe. 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 Now I'm going to call all of the Dakini energy of the entire universe. All the Bodhisattva Buddha Dakini energy, all of the celestial Dakinis, all of the demigod Dakinis, all of the elemental spirit world Dakinis, all come into our mandala, and Pema Khandro is the boss. Om Pema Dakini, Ram Hri Pe, Om Pema Ram Hri Pe, Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe, Ram Hri Pe, Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe, Ram Hri Pe. Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe, 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 Om Pema Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe, 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 Om Pema Khandro Ram Hri Pe. Pe means cut through egocentric consciousness to perform whatever is appropriate as a Bodhisattva Dakini, carrying the Buddha energy of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas into the human condition to pacify, to perform what's appropriate, to liberate sentient beings, and cause Mahamudra to penetrate your stream of being. The Dharmakaya nature of all 5 Dhyana Buddhas into you, into your heart. Take it to heart. Om Pema Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Lotus Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Lotus Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Lotus Dakini Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Kanda 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 Ram Ri Pe. Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe. Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe, Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe. Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe. Now in front we have 2 skull cups. One are offering the bliss nature of your mind as light to all of the lamas, symbols, and lineages of the practice lineage. Then the skull cup on this side is called the blood offering skull cup. This is all the energy of this to pervade the spirit world, all the celestial realms, all the demigod realms, all the deprived spirit realms, all the demon world spirit realm. Then appropriately to the animal world, and most importantly to the practitioners of this modality of healing. Sutra and doctrine practice path of skillful means using peaceful and protector deities based on the what we call the Nungjo, the preliminary practices. So 108 petal lotus, 108 petals on the mala. The sun and fire dome has a 32 petal lotus. That means all of this energy to the heart. Then she is appearing on the animal or human form as the Dakini, radiating the energy light of space, coming in and with the fire dome around her going out. No boundary, filled space. The Buddha Amitabha is in her heart center as the ultimate awareness of your natural mind as your heart chakra. Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe, 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 Om Pema Kanda Ram Ri Pe. She's on 2 cross pyramids, triangles. One of them is the Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, Bodhisattva tradition of the peaceful deities. The overlapping triangle is the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya of the mind of the Lama. And then this lotus appears, however, what is appropriate in the human condition, performing the activity of Buddha involvement. Your 5 aspects of your wisdom mind actualize, being used in your situation, in your karmic situation, and the world around you. And This is for everything you're seeing with your eyes, your worldly eyes and your third eye, the imaginary one producing these mandalas. Om Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Om Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Be Vajakandra Mam Om Be. Now this is also all of the tantric deity. All tantric yoga practice, however it's performed with male or female deity. And the energy is applied to the natural world, which is symbolized with the golden sky and the clouds and sun and moon in the sky and rivers and animals and humans all around. Birds, blackbirds flying in the sky. That's the potential of the method, which we'll get into that one next. Then to finish the practice, to go into the creation phase of the practice, you as the deity disappear into the tree in the Buddha Amitabha in your heart center. Together with all of the mantra, all the Wrathful mantra used in Dakini practices, any Dakini practice, 58 Dakini. All of that into the Shri in your heart center. In this state of bliss energy, relax as a universal application that you've established with the practice. Appropriately applied to every situation where there is pain or suffering. Relax. No meditation. No judgment of whatever thoughts arise. No judgment about bodily sensation. Breathe. At the end of the accumulation stage of the practice, you appear whatever yidam you're presently enjoying in practice, following the instructions of your Lama. And always remember that the accomplishment of the peaceful deity is necessary for the fulfillment of the activity of the protector Dakini, or protector male deity. The more you do of the Nungdo practice, prostrations, Vajrasattva, making mandala offerings, or Guru Yoga, and the more you perfect the 6 Bodhisattva disciplines with Sutra and Tantric practice, that all has a constant increase. The word is soha. It's always universal. It's always meant for the benefit of all sentient beings, none left out. And there's no end to it. It's always increasing. And how you activate that is when you dedicate or make aspiration prayers or do taking and sending practice. If you have an affliction and you do taking and sending practice with that affliction, you've started to heal that affliction. If you have obstacles and affliction, if you do your deity yoga, projecting this to the afflictions of all sentient beings as you not being the only one, they all have it 1,000 times worse than you do, you're starting to deal with that on a personal level. There's no separation, no boundary. Okay? Distance and time penetrated. When we use the male aspect of Chenrezig, or any Bodhisattva deity, there's, again, 58 tantric applications of this. And we move into the Buddha realm of Aksobhaya Buddha. That everything and everyone is integrated into us. Thus, we have responsibility to do whatever we can to make that total integration okay, healed. We have a duty, you know. That's what bodhisattvas do. And the energy of that takes over, no restrictions, no boundary. All the war, famine, disease, poverty, environmental destruction, and all this weird stuff that's going on the planet today with viruses and diseases and climate change and all that. This is how we deal with it. This is how we take care of it. Take care of our Mother Earth and the beings here, now, present time, in our locale and globally. So when we do the Chenrezig practice, Chenrezig is the basis of the practice. Okay? When we use Chenrezig and Manjushri together, this is the body, speech, mind. Okay? Body of compassion, speech of clarity, insight, intelligence, action, Buddha activity. And so I'm showing you the activity of Chenrezig is the 2-armed Mahakala, Verna Chen, who is Karmapa, the Karmakagyu lineage master. This is how he projects, 2 arms, standing on a sun disk. Okay? Vajra in the right hand, Bell or hook knife, your choice, in the left hand. Deity, Lama, inseparable. So here's your body of compassion together with the speech of Manjushri, insight, which all women have the handle on. This is intuitive awareness. In the web, it's called Google. Come together. These have to be the basic practice to perform Mahakala in any guise: 2-arm, 4-arm, 6-arm, 20-arm, 2 legs, 4 legs, 6 legs, 8 legs. 5-jewel crown is always on the head of wrathful deity, whether it be male or female. Lotus, sun, and moon dish. This is a 32 petal black lotus. This symbolizes human. Surrounded by the fire dome, and in the fire dome are all kinds of weapons and dorjes and stuff, like nuclear. Okay? Strung of 50 heads, many types of jewelry, wearing a tiger skin, showing power, in a natural setting of night, in a charnel ground. Charnel ground means the 8 worldly dharmas become the 8 charnel counts of the Buddha activity of these protectors, whether they be male or female. When you go into the next world, you take it with you. You're not going to go to heaven. You're not going to go to hell. You're not going to be a hungry ghost, deprived spirit. You're not going to be a war god, demigod. You're not going to come into an animal world out of stupidity. You're not going to have desire to be in the human condition, but you will appear in the human condition out of compassion, power, and insight, and loving kindness and concern for the well-beings of those who are emotionally bound by judgment, judgmental mind. Well, this is in a natural setting. Clouds, Buddhas appearing around in the sun and moon in the sky. All of this is your imagination with compassion, power, and insight. So when you do the 2-arm Shenrei-Z, it is called the messenger. As Mahakala, the messenger goes into action, wrathful, like the mother's energy. Oh, such a darling, love you, you're so beautiful, nice child. Then you don't do what the mother says, then she goes, ah! So that's why they use the word wrathful, Dakini, or protector. Every male aspect has the Dakini energy in play. It doesn't matter. Chenrei-Z, Manjushri, the peaceful deity, together form 2-arm Mahakala, Burna Chen. Lama in front, 3 lights into you, 3 lights in your 3 places. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. Come together as Hum in your heart center. This is total healing, universal healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritual, applied equally to all sentient beings, your children. You did that. You're doing that, so you don't have to project. The first place the 2-arm method protector goes is the celestial realms of desire, light, and voidness, space. Then to the demigod realms, then to the deprived spirit realms, then to the demon realms of hell, then into the animal world where all the critters are, then into the human condition where we're messing everything up. out of desire, out of greed, out of dualistic fixation, from the pure, simple process of allowing judgment to arise with your thoughts. Cut that. Now we're going to say that do the practice of the two-armed Burna Chen, Mahakala. Om Vajrapani, Om Pe. 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 Om Vajrapani. Om Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe. Om Vajrapani, Om Pe, Om Vajrapani, Om Pe. Om Burna Chen, Mahakala, Siddhi, 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 Om Pe. Om Lama Guru, 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 Mahakala, Siddhi, Om Pe. Body, speech, mind, all projecting to all six realms. Om Lama Guru, Mahakala, Siddhi, Om Pe. 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 Then the mantra keeps going. It's in the heart center around the whom. All the energy blazes through you. As it escapes from you, it becomes the fire dome around you, filled with all kinds of protective energy, weapons, dorje, cross dorjes, clubs, knives, however you want to think that. Blazing fire like the sun. You can see your human form under your feet as support. But it's not necessary with the method aspect of the male deity. When you think of Chenrezig Manjushri as the two-armed Mahakala, that's called Vajrapani. Compassion, power, insight based on loving kindness and concern for all beings. The purpose of this practice is to liberate beings in the spirit world and turn them towards the rebirth in the human realm to again become bodhisattvas, to become Buddhas. It's also to liberate obstacles on your path of practice. It's also used to create healing in yourself and others. It's a great antidote to anger because Aksobhaya Buddha sits on your head. Mirror-like wisdom, that everything is like a reflection in an empty mirror. The Dharmakaya is the deity. To end your practice, simply dissolve or bring the Buddha Aksobhaya above your head into your heart center. Dissolve the lotus, sun, and moon seat, the mantra, all of that into, and being the deity, into Aksobhaya Buddha's home, the seats of a home. And that moves into this night sky of voidness. The bliss energy of your own natural mind. Relax, no meditation, be present. And totally alert. No judgment from your thoughts, and no dictations or sensations from your body. Whatever arises is okay. Then when you arise again from this accomplishment state of voidness meditation, then you establish yourself in the realm of compassion, insight, and power, based on the loving kindness and concern for the well-being of the altruistic motivation of Tibetan Buddhism. Then, since we have a few minutes left, we can do taking and sending with the breath. Each and every one of us has some physical imbalance, mental imbalance, emotional conflicting energy, and lack of insight. Whatever your affliction is, think that there are infinite beings out there with the same affliction. With your inhale, take that in as black light into your heart center and disappear. Then exhale light back to all those sentient beings. And visualize and think they are healed totally, not only of that affliction, but mentally and spiritually. Perfect health with the exhale back. You can do this one-on-one, but it's best to do it to thousands or infinite number of beings having the same physical affliction that you're dealing with, mental problem you're dealing with, fear, anxiety, depression, whatever. Emotional problem, anger, desire, jealousy, whatever. And lack of insight, not knowing, being stupid. Deluded. Scattered. So all of those obstacles gone with the exhale. I have noticed in my own practice that whatever physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual complications or pain or suffering I was enduring, when I did taking and centering, they dissipated and disappeared. Fear disappeared. Anxiety and depression disappeared. Physical ailments disappeared. Now we finish tonight's class with dedication prayers. That everything we do in these classes and our spiritual practice is for the benefit of all living beings. Did the practice fall on the floor? And these practices and this path of skillful means, by the power of these virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind, and the loving kindness of my parents to me, and the teachings of bodhicitta by my lamas, and all my accomplishment through myself and all my Vajra sisters and brothers, and with the connection between myself as karma to all men and women on the planet today, may all of us attain the level of compassion, power, insight, and Mahamudra. Right now, tonight. Kewadi Nurdu Dog, Chagya Champo Drugirne, Chowa Chinking Malupa, Deity Sala Gopar Sho, Sanjay Kusum Nempai Jimla Dong, Choni Megur Dimpai Jimla Dong, Gendu Miche Dumpai Jimla Ki, Shitar Gonwa Monlong Drupar Sho. By this virtue of having realized Mahamudra, may I quickly establish all beings without exception in that state of clarity. By the blessings of the three bodies of the Buddha being accomplished, by the blessing of the truth of the Dharma itself being unchanging, and by the blessing of the wishes of us, the Sangha, being unwavering, may this and all dedication prayers, aspiration prayers, tashi prayers, and so forth be accomplished. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be established in bliss through our practice and freed of emotions, of attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, stupidity, bewilderment, ignorance, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and may all the lamas have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity, and may all their wishes be fulfilled. Duchi Che, thank you, mahalo, and Tashi Delay.